Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I always appreciate your time. Today's video is all about the sweet roll. I love me some sweet roll. Back in the day, well, a cinnamon roll as well as Premier's sweet rolls. This one happens to be about the Frostie variety. And I thought I got this stuff much more discounted than I did. So I was kind of bummed when I recently came across my order in some paperwork and stuff. And so I ordered it a couple of years ago and they were $4.99 a cake. And I would have liked to have spent a little bit less on them than that, but I really wanted them at the time. My granddaughter had a blanket made by somebody else and I thought I was buying that same yarn. I liked her project, the yarn that her project was made with, and so I thought I was buying the same yarn, and it's not, but that's okay. It's not, no big deal. So I had 10 cakes of this in my stash, and it took me a little while to get through it. A couple of the patterns that I've made so far, as I showed you in previous videos, pillow cover, and just trying to try out new things at the time. It's one of our living room pillows here that my granddaughter plays with, and I had been doing the moss stitch on here, and I can't remember which I did first or which I did second. I think I was doing, I don't know, this is not as moss stitchy. No, it is, but this I went down into the below row. That's what it is. Okay, so it's both the moss stitch. This is regular moss stitch, and it was kind of too spacey for me. So when I went on the next side, when I did this side, I didn't just go down into the chain space below. I went down into the single crochet in the row below that. So this side is super tight and dense. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so see how the single crochets look like they're almost on top of each other? There's a row of a chain row in between these two single crochets. So they're hooked in there super nice and tight, and I liked that much better than the standard. This is your standard moss stitch where you have the single crochet and then you chain one, skip one, and then when you're doing your next row you alternate like that. So that can be the difference between getting this super tight pattern like that. That was a good one to kind of teach you guys, or show you a little tip to show you guys. And then thought I would just do some round and round and round and single. So it's a little bit loose, but it's a fun play with pillow. Another one I did, I think I did this one first actually. What do they call these, like a bumper pillow or something? It's like a little neck pillow. And so I just kind of started on one side and then kind of figured out how to make another round one and connect it up at the top. So that was a lot of fun. I don't know where I got the pillow from, but I think it was like a one-off on a clearance. I'm like, I'll figure something out with that. Back in my earlier days when I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then it sat here in my stash forever. So this was another fun one. I like the colorway so much on this one. It is called Slushy. And so each of the cakes are 100% acrylic. They suggest a 5.5 millimeter hook, and it's a machine wash, warm, tumble dry, normal. And the Okotex is on here, and 245 yards. So yeah, great yarn. Love it, love it, love it. So I wish I had kept a picture or knew where I kept a picture, because I'm almost positive that a few months ago I had pulled it from my spaces here and showed it to you as, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I got to get this out of my stash, so something's going to happen with this. And then it sat here for a little while. So if you saw that in a previous video, I do not have the time. I did that, I think, back in March or so. So, a couple months later, I've got a handful of videos. I don't have time to go through all of them. And, sometimes I should detail. I usually will label my videos or label my notes as to what the main item was. But if I mention something, or like the fun stuff I put at the end, like when I showed you the baby deer or pictures of my dog or my granddaughter or whatever, I should make notes of that, because then I need to reference that from memory later, and I don't. So anyway, long story short, what I did was I had almost 2 full cakes, I think, and then a bunch of scraps. And I told myself I wanted to work a basket out of it. I was going to start with that. And this was another one of those where I think I thought I'm going to use all of this yarn in this one project. And then I got through the project and I still had a ton of the yarn. So what, you know, I kind of keep that momentum going. I kind of keep rolling with that. So what I decided to do is make a basket and some bags. And so the basket, as you know, I'm such a basket freak. I make tons and tons and tons of baskets. I like to use 3 strands of yarn and generally an 8mm hook, an L hook. For this one, I went down to 2 strands on one of them and brought in a 6.5mm hook, and then worked some appliques and did a 5mm hook. So between these 3 hooks, I got these projects done. And so I also incorporated, then I get to the point where I'm like, ooh, I want to do some color stuff. So let me incorporate a white strand so that I can mix that out or match that out at some point. So I used some Karen 1 pound. I felt like this is the size of the size 4, because you know all size 4s are not the same. Not all worsted weights are the same thickness, but this size 4 I thought was pretty set with the sweet rolls. And this is all the scrap that I have left from my 10 cakes that I bought a couple of years ago, and I'm super excited like to kind of get it out of my stash. I mean, I love this yarn, but you can't get new stuff if you don't cycle out the old stuff. So, well, you can, you just get crazy wall of yarn. Okay. So my first one that I did, I started on the bottom, and well, you start on the bottom with all of them, but I started with some white and some yellow. And so then what my intention was to trade out one strand as I went to start to kind of do an ombre and changing it up a bit. So then we got into some pink, and I really liked how the pink and the yellow worked together with the white. I mean, there's already, you see, there's already white through the yarn. So the white yarn that I added just kind of made some of it kind of balance out and pop. I need to cover completely my face so that it focuses. So then I kind of got into purple a little bit. So you can see here there's some pink and purple together, and then I kind of worked that out and just wanted the purples together, and then worked some blue into that. And then I was finding that I really didn't have any more blue, so I wanted to get that completely finished in this basket. So I got to a point where I had 2 blues and just 1 white, and then I was afraid I wasn't going to finish the top handles and stuff, so then I went to 2 whites and a blue on that. So here is my basket that the first project that I made with this one. And so there's a million tutorials about how to make baskets, and I've even got one that I made a tutorial for a small like a Halloween candy bowl. That was kind of the tutorial that I put out there for the baskets. But again, you just start it in a spiral, and it's your standard increase. You do, you know, whatever your count is going to be. I think I did a 10 count on this one. And then you do 2 in each. And then your next round you put 1, and then 2 in the next one, 1, and then 2 in the next one, all the way up to, you know, increase the next one. Then this one will get 2 in 1, and then 1, and then 1, and then 2 in 1, etc. And then I like to do, this is again in working with only a back loop or a front loop, you get that little lip around the bottom of the basket. You can kind of see it there. It's like a little footing, I always call it. So, and then you just, from that point, I work in the round on the bag. If there's not going to be a specific color change striping that I want pronounced, I'll just work in the round. So I just work in the round. These are all half doubles. And then when I get up to the handle area, I start with singles. I go down to a single crochet. And what I do is, the round of the basket I put to the side here. So where you take your half crochet round around, and then on the side where nobody's going to see it, then you start your single crochet round, so that when you come around to the end, It's just a slight change, and nobody's even going to see it because it's on the side, where you do a step down from a single crochet to a slip stitch so that your edge just kind of rounds out. So yeah, I mean, what I have in my mind when I'm making a bag isn't always going to be what the bag is used for. You know, at first I kind of started like, I kind of want to make a purse that has a round bottom, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. So that's on my back page, on my back burner at some point. But I just absolutely loved how the colorway was working up together. So then the next thing that I grabbed was, again, the last three colors is the yellow, the pink, and the purple. I didn't have any more of the blue. And those are the 4 colors that come in the cake. So then I wanted to do a little smaller one. And I like my oblong bags very, very much. It just depends on what project I'm working on. I use these mostly for my project bags. And so here is a little oblong one that I made. So you start like a baby shoe, you do your chain, and then if you turn it and go into the bump of the chain as you work your way back, then when you go back the other direction and you pull into those chains, it doesn't leave an open gap. Sometimes when you do, see this row here, this is the row where it's the chain, and then you work on both sides. So if you go into traditionally where you go into your chain and just the front loop, and then you go into the back loop on the way back around, it leaves a little bit of gaps, a little bit of holes. So if you go into the bump instead, then it will not give you the holes the same way in that chain row. So then you just come around and you've got to give yourself corners. So there's going to be 2 places where you start to increase to, you know, to consider the corners to go a little bit wider. So you've got like a flat panel here, and then your corners on each side. So, and then all you do is you skip some, again, same as before, you skip some stitches and you do a chain to make your little handle. And then when you go around, you just go back into the handle, you know, go back into those chains to make your little handle. So I really like the way the color played out. It reminds me of like juicy fruit gum with the purple and the pink and the yellow like that together. I didn't use any white yarn on this one. This one is all just the Frostie. And then I decided to pick up, I think this was the next one I did. I picked up the pink and the white together and tried to get working through all of that colorway, and kind of made this more, I didn't go as big on the foot to go as wide. I wanted it to be like kind of like a flatter purse. So I did that and then put a little heart on the front. Look how cute. It was very, very easy to make that little heart applique. And on this one, as you can see, I didn't do as many chains as this one. So if you want your handle to just be like a little hand placed like that, whereas this one, I fully think like maybe a little girl might do like a little clutch purse, not a clutch, but be able to put her arm or her hand on that a little bit differently than just the basket. So I made that one with a little heart there. And then my last one, I wasn't sure where to put the heart. This one I kind of made totally different. I used white also along the bottom, but then I dropped. So down here, this white area, this bottomish area is done with 3 strands, and then I dropped down to just 2 strands for this section. I was looking at some purses or some bags that have like a leather strip around the bottom maybe, or some sort of bottom section that's a little bit different. So and then after I made the handle, I thought, for my hand, I know what I want my handle to feel like in my hand. But for a little girl, I felt like this was too wide. I had made it too wide. So I pinched it together and whip stitched or stitched along here to sew this part together. So it's kind of like a tube. I think I did 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I did 4 single crochets. But and then I did an outline of the purple. And I thought it was just too thick, so I folded it together. So at this side, you can see like where the bag opens, the handle kind of just closes off right there. So that was a nice little different kind of a purse style. And I took a little bit of the blue and popped a little heart on here in the corner like that. I never know where to put them. I was kind of positioning it all over. Where did I want that? But I liked this one in the middle. And then I thought a little cute one for the side like that. So this is fun. So fun, so fun. I love my baskets. I feel very creative. I feel very, you can really do a lot of imaginative. I get very, my imagination goes wild with the different colors that I want to put together, whether you do contrasting colors or similar colors. My bags, I've got so many baskets of so many different colorways. I just love them. So if you haven't gotten into some baskets yet, go ahead and check out my little candy dish tutorial. I guess I'll put that as the link at the end so that you can check that out if you haven't done a basket yet. It's so fun. It's so fun. So, okay guys, that's my sweet roll Frostie video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderfully blessed day, and please do come back and see me again. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.